We are back after the snow. This is our sixth show together. We're talking about episode 5 of the new season of Snowfall that aired last night. The Iliad, that's the title.
Wow. What a show.
Man, things
I can't
things
wait.
are going crazy here.
I can't wait,
crazy.
Dave. Yeah, man.
So before we just jump in, I wanted to talk about the title like we do a lot of time. The Iliad. I mean, that's an ancient Greek poem written supposedly by Homer, the Greek philosopher. Thousands of years ago. It's about the Trojan War, and there's a lot of themes that are in that poem, like fate, glory, homecoming, pride, respect, honor, wrath, and rage. These are things that people have written about, about this famous poem, the Iliad, that they seem to have, named this episode after. And of course, the Trojan War involved the Trojan horse, where they infiltrate inside, through the horse. So I don't know. What do you make of the Iliad title?
Man, I don't know how they relate. First of all, I didn't know what the word meant when you told me the word. I was like, what? Never heard of it.
Yeah.
But this is one wild show. Wow. I don't know where we start, Dave.
Right.
So much is going on in this show, man.
Well, let's start, because all the drama starts happening. As we know, there's multiple drive-bys happening at the same time. But just before that kicks off, Sissy, Franklin's mom, she's sitting down with this Spanish guy that is from some kind of intelligence agency that we met last episode. And, they're talking about moving forward with the plan. And of course, Sissy, is there because she wants to try to get Teddy murdered, she says. And the guy is like, hey, I got this pen microphone, stick this in Frank. There's the 007, and he says, stick this in Franklin's office. And, we got to find out what Franklin's doing.
Did they have those in the 80s? I don't even know if they had microphones that small in the 80s, man.
Right.
And pens, but, just the whole thing. I mean, here she is talking to a guy she don't even know about committing a murder. It's like, how many people we know that done hired the FBI to commit a murder, and it's a setup the whole time. So it's throwing me off, like his mom has gotten that involved with the business and with the whole ordeal. It's really baffling to me.
Right. So, do you have any other theories on who this guy is? And because he's like, he's like, of course, we gotta catch Franklin, what he's doing in order to really get rid of Teddy and get rid of all your problems. And of course, mom says, hey, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing, Alton went about this the wrong way. I'm not.
We don't even know how she met him.
Right.
We don't know. The guy just pops up at a restaurant. She's coming from out of town, and they pop up at a restaurant and they're talking. There was nothing to lead up. There was no foundation to where he came from. Like usually when you meet somebody that's going to do a murder, your cousin introduced you to him. Hey, this is my partner. Right. He commits murders.
Well, maybe they're saving that. Maybe they're going to come back and show you who this guy is and how she got connected to him. Later on, that's possible.
I don't know. It looks like to me they're struggling. I mean, the writers have really look like they lost their touch. They lost their LA-ness. It's definitely going away from LA. With some of the things that's happening inside of this show. And what really got me about this episode was that they tried to bring it back to LA with the drive-bys. They want to make it like LA is the home of drive-bys. And I don't buy it. I don't buy the whole scene. And I guess they're going to make it look like Peaches set it up, but I don't see why Peaches would be trying to kill him. I could see why maybe she would be trying to rob him and get the money and get the dope, but just to be doing drive-bys and kill everybody, I don't think that would have been Peaches. I mean, I didn't see no reason why she would have done that, because it seemed like her and Teddy, her and Franklin, everything was going well. I haven't saw anything that would have made me think that she wanted to double cross Franklin.
You talking about his
Peaches.
girl? Oh, Peaches. No, Peaches is the dude. That's D. Ray Davis.
Okay, well, Peaches was the one who didn't come to work.
Right, he's the one that's been sniffling. That people are saying maybe does he have AIDS or he's being sick, and then he doesn't show up. When Franklin goes to meet Teddy for the drop, and he has
Right.
some other random guy with him that gets killed there, and then they're like, "Well, why isn't Peaches here?" And he's like, "Oh, he called in sick." So that could mean more about him having AIDS, but also it could people are like pointing the finger towards him. Did he set them up?
But that's what I'm saying. But him and Franklin really hasn't had any rafts since they've been going along. It wasn't any arguments. Right. The only time that I saw anything where Franklin could have disrespected him is when he tried to shake his hand, and Franklin wouldn't shake his hand because he had been playing with his nose. And he's like, "No, man, I'm going home to my girl, and I don't want to give her nothing."
Right. But that's another theory with Peaches is that he's on coke. Maybe he's become an addict, and maybe that's where he's getting into double crossing just because.
But even with being an addict, he wouldn't be trying to kill him. I don't think. This is me thinking. With my noviceness about movies, why would you want to kill him? Steal a few keys of cocaine, maybe. A little extra cash. To supply your habit, but not kill Franklin. Usually when somebody kill you, it's because you crossed them some kind of way, you stole from them, something is wrong. You did something to their girlfriend, their brother, their mother, their father. Something has to be a problem. You just don't kill them just because you're getting high and they're probably the reason that he's able to get high. Without Franklin, he wouldn't be able to get high. I don't buy that. That won't fly with me. If they come back and say that Peaches set him up because he was getting high, I'm done. I'm done with that.
Well, okay, so I mean, yeah, I don't really think it could be Peaches either. But at the same time, it's like all three get set up at the same time. Franklin and Teddy. Jerome and Auntie meeting with the mom and Veronique, and then Leon and Avi. So everybody's coordinated at the exact same times. They're all getting set up. And who would possibly know all three of those people's information, exactly what time and where they were all having these meetings?
Because I don't even think the Avi meeting was planned. It looked like that was kind of random. The way they had that meeting, I don't know. Because
well, I will say this: I did see there was a little clue in that scene with Leon. Remember, he's at the crib, and the confusion was because he gets the 911 page from Franklin, and he's trying to call him back. He can't reach him, and his boy's like, "Does he? When was the last time he paid you 911?" He's like, "It's been forever. I don't know what's going on." Then there's a sidekick dude. I don't think we know who this is. He comes down the steps and he's like, "Hey, we got to get to the meeting. The meeting. We got to go. Something." He's rushing them, and then Leon is like, "Well, why is this dude? This dude work for me. Why is he rushing me?" But I'm thinking like, if this guy's trying to make sure they get to the meeting on time, he must have somehow been in on the setup. But I don't, but who got him?
I missed that. I missed that one.
Yeah.
But I do remember when he came down the steps. But I missed that part where he told him, "Come on, hurry, let's go to the meeting."
Yeah, he said it.
But if this guy would have to be, if he was just Leon's man, then how would he know where the mom and the uncle was meeting at? Right. He don't have any contact with them. I'm sure, because even Leon barely had contact with the moms. Remember, the moms was talking to him about coming all the way back into the family, being with Franklin. So quite naturally, she wouldn't have told him about a meeting that she was having with her brother and Franklin's fiance. I don't see that either. And I know Franklin wouldn't have told him where he was going. I think he said he had $5 million in them bags, which was which was some little bitty
Right.
bags too.
He had
With,
$5 million in that one little tiny
yeah, he was
backpack.
carrying
Yeah,
that bag with
he
$5
must
million, and then my
have.
other
He
man
must have
had
had some.
$5 million worth of cocaine in the
He
trunk of
must
that
have.
car.
He must have had $10,000 bills in there or something. I didn't know they made those.
Yeah,
But
I was. That was kind of funny to me when I seen him with those little bags talking about $5 million. I was like, "Ooh, y'all real
so
good."
So where my mind is going when I'm thinking about like that Leon's guy rushing him, I don't think he's the mastermind. But what I start thinking about is COINTELPRO, okay, and how they use people within within the situation to try to turn the whole thing into chaos or whatever, and they get informants, that kind of a situation. So I'm thinking this is like a larger orchestrated thing, I guess, by the CIA or some powerful entity that's creating this kind of internal subterfuge.
They would have to be super powerful, I mean, they must be going to the mind reader. The lady, what was her name? Early on in the show,
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but yeah, right.
that could tell you the future.
Right.
They was going to her because they real good. I mean, if
Uh,
somebody could literally tell you where all those different meetings was going and exactly what times they were going in, are really really good. And
yeah.
the other one, when the cops come, that was good too. The cops is real nice.
Oh,
Only two cars came to that many shots. It was a lot of gunshots, man, in
when
L.A.
they came when they cuffed Jerome up.
Yeah, man. All them gunshots and I don't think I saw but one or two cars that pulled up.
Yeah.
They'd had the whole neighborhood surrounded, and then a narcotic agent was able to get them off. And I never saw what happened with the guns. The cops never got his or her gun.
Well, I think what happened was, Veronique took the guns, which was interesting, because, I think they're trying to show Veronique now, Franklin's girl. You remember earlier on in the beginning of the season, she was a little iffy about things. Now she's, gung ho all the way in on everything. She's taking the guns off of Leon and Auntie Louie. She wasn't really that shook when the gunfire was going on. Sissy looked crazy, but Veronique was hiding behind the pole, and she was seemed like she was on point or whatever. So they're trying to really show her. But remember, the cop they're sitting down on the side curb there, and she starts crying and tries that. But then Auntie Louie chimes in. It's like, hey, talk to me. I'm a confidential informant with the crash unit and Lieutenant Buckley or whatever, and call him and he'll tell you and get us out of here. And then Buckley shows up.
Man, let me tell you, I've been in raids much lighter than that much gunfire. Everybody around there would have been handcuffed, especially all the blacks.
Yeah.
And somebody identified them as participants in the shooting. I mean,
Right.
how can you have a shooting that magnitude at a public place like that and nobody identified the shooters? I mean, I'm just saying, L.A. L.A. baby. I don't know where they do that at. Maybe some of these other cities they could shoot like that and get away with it, but L.A. don't play. You know, uh, some of the real brass would have been out there, talking to some people, trying to get some names and phone numbers. So,
Yeah.
Lieutenant Bragg, whatever his name is, he'd had to
Right.
take a back seat on that one.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He came in and shut everything down. Yeah, it looked like at least one or two people got killed. I mean, there was the one guy that you saw that got shot, and his wife was sitting over him. So yeah, it definitely seemed like a little bit light on the response to a broad day drive by and was probably a nice neighborhood. Um, now let's go back to the drive by with Franklin and Teddy and Oso and them. What I just wanted to take each one of the drive-bys and just kind of like walk through what you thought of anything that stood out. So the van pulls up, starts firing on them, and remember Teddy gets hit. He ends up driving off, and then Franklin and Oso.
Well, we know definitely it wasn't a robbery. It was no attempted robbery. We talking about $10 million right there on the spot, and nobody. It definitely it wasn't a robbery. They wasn't trying to take the dope and the money. That was definitely a hit. Somebody that was trying to kill somebody or trying to kill everybody. Uh, and that's what really baffles me about it. Because I can see, somebody get a tip on your spot where you're gonna be doing a transaction, and they try to get upper hand on you. But this is somebody that wants to eliminate the whole organization.
Right. Right.
So
Um,
it has to be his competition.
yeah. I mean, I was thinking about Scully. Is Scully somehow behind all this? Um, I guess
Well,
it's
yeah,
possible.
yeah. Scully definitely. When I saw one of the drive-bys, Scully was the first person that I thought about.
Hmm.
Uh, um, so forth. He's the only one in the movie that I was because looked like all the guys were black too.
Hmm.
So, but then when you think about it, you're saying an organization, that is strong enough to know all of these places that these people are meeting at the same time. Would they hire gangbangers to take care of this? I mean, this is a sophisticated move that they're making.
Right.
Supposed to be a sophisticated move.
Right. Right.
Coordinated, well thought out, um, well informed. You know what I'm saying? Because we know the last time that we saw Teddy and Franklin meet, was a secret location that even Franklin was surprised that he was meeting there. So
Hmm.
we know Teddy puts a little thought into his places where he's gonna meet somebody, at least from prior episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Maybe he's slipping now. He could be done lost a little bit of his wits because he got shot. I mean, we saw this guy walk through walls and poison people with their own drink. So we know
right.
that this guy is very, very sophisticated. He's very trained. Um, and even when he goes to get his surgery, he don't go to the hospital. He goes to this chick who does surgery in her kitchen.
Right. Now, when did you notice when he goes to her, she's calling him Thomas, so she knows him from something else where he was known as Thomas, and she was talking about that he still owed her money from the last job or whatever she, I guess, did for him. Um, and also, she made another comment that I thought was interesting. She puts on the rubber gloves and she's like, you can't be too careful around blood these days because one of the nurses at the hospital just caught HIV from a patient. So there's the HIV reference coming back into the show. And, again, where we find out that Peaches has HIV or anybody else.
Right, right, no doubt, no doubt. That was interesting as well. And she told him she wanted 250,000. She wanted $250,000 to do this surgery.
Right,
Like I'm
right.
expensive.
Well, he said money's no object, and then she probably was owed her some money from before, so she came with a big number.
Now you know what could have happened. Now maybe Teddy has went rogue because kind of like what happened in my story is after the CIA closed the operation down, Danilo Blando and them kept on working.
Hmm.
And maybe in this scene here, they're going to show that the CIA wanted to get rid of everybody to close the case.
That's an interesting idea.
You
I can
know,
see that.
but I don't know why would they use all black guys. The CIA. I mean, they probably got some black guys that's probably topping the CIA. Hitman or
Well, is it because they want to try to cover it up and say, oh, this was a gang related thing and blah 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 blah, but they just
well, the
found.
guys wasn't seen anyway, so they wouldn't know if they was gang members or not. They could have had. They could have guys totally covered, because some of them had on masks and ski masks and so forth. I don't know. It just baffles me that it was all black guys doing the shooting. I mean,
Hmm.
that really threw me.
Hmm.
It
Interesting.
would definitely look like a Scully gang. And
Right.
that's why you said Scully because so far he's the only one that we saw in here with the power to have that many guys move at one time.
Um, So, oh, now one more thought that I had, if as we talk about just theories of who's behind all this and how could it happen. So when Sissy's meeting with that guy, the Spanish man, and he has the pen, right, the microphone pen. Now I think it's not clear if she takes it or not, because he's like, just take it and put it wherever, whatever you decide to do. So I'm thinking, like, could she have taken the microphone and done something with it? And then that's how everybody, because it might have been a day or two had gone by or whatever. So she might have put the pen in Franklin's office, and then the CIA and them or whoever it is are hearing all these plans going on, and then they make the hit. That was one other possible idea.
Yeah, but she would have to use the pen on herself too, for them to know that she was having a secret meeting at with the uncle and his girl.
Well, well, I mean, if the pen picked up, Veronique setting that meeting up, I don't think Sissy, when if she did use the pen, she obviously wasn't thinking that it was going to result in her getting set up in a drive-by. So she might have just used the pen, thinking, okay, I'm going to just go with what this guy says so I can save my family. And in the end, that's just another idea, because I'm still trying to figure out, how does somebody know where all three of those meetings are taking place at the exact same time? Like that's a lot of information somebody had.
Yeah, I want to see him bring this all together. This is going to be real interesting. And then the other part with Franklin and them getting away. Uh, um, Here we are. We got a guy in South Central Los Angeles with a tiger. And Franklin is talking about he's going to stuff him. He's
Right.
telling Uso, wake up, Uso, they're going to stuff you.
Right. Right. That the end was nuts. I mean, they wake like, who is that old man coming out with the tranquilizer gun? Did they just happen to pick a house that's, occupied by some old crazy man that tranquilizes people, or is that guy a CIA guy? And how did he get in the house that they picked? I mean, that's weird, very strange.
Well, it looked like it was his house because he had a lot of stuffed animals. Remember he had the bear that scared Franklin as soon as he came in,
Yeah.
and then he had the stuffed alligator on the couch. Uh, but even to go in somebody's house, like you stashed the money. Now you're walking down the street like normal people. In LA, there's buses that runs everywhere. Why didn't you go to a bus stop, get on a bus? Because I've been in situations like that. Not to where I was robbed, but riding down the street and the cops get behind us, and we all jump out of the car, and even that whole scene, I believe was stolen from my book. Where one time I was on the 5 freeway, me and one of my partners, and uh, we only had a couple keys in the car. We was light, and the highway patrol pulled up on us, and one of my boys was telling us, and he swerved on the police a couple times to give us a little time to get away, and we got off the freeway, and as soon as we got off the freeway, we jumped out the car and ran, and the first thing I did was stuck the kilos up under a house to stash them, and I just started walking down the street like a normal person, and jumped on the bus, went to the house, got another car, and went back and got my kilos. So when you see, the way they did that was just a little strange. That
That doesn't seem strange to me. I mean, if in your book you have yourself running, stashing kilos under a house, I mean, that's where Franklin and Oso. I mean, it was kind of weird, like they're being chased by the Mexican gang members all through the neighborhood, and all of a sudden they just happen to find this little trap door to go under the house, that happens to be there. But I mean, to stash and be hiding out under a house sounds pretty similar to what you have in your book.
Yeah, but I don't know why they didn't, keep it more to sensible. Now you're talking about breaking in somebody's house. Now somebody's gonna call the police. What if it would just been normal people and they thought you breaking in their house and call the police? But I just see the writers. The writers are starting to fizzle. What they're probably gonna have to do is get some new writers if they're gonna keep this series going. I think it's fizzling right now. Um,
Well, do we want to talk about this meeting you're having today?
Uh, I don't care.
I mean, there's a chance that that could be the solution that we're talking about here. If if they want to bring you in to help fix things up.
Well, they're gonna have to pull out their wallet, man.
Oh, they got a wallet.
And
They
you
got
know
a
what's
big one.
strange? You know what's strange is we started this show 1 week, and a week later I got the phone call that they wanted to meet with me. So I'm like, wow, did this show have something to do with that? You know, with that phone call coming. You know. Um,
Breakbeat Media, baby. We out here. We out here. We
I
have
don't
an
really believe
impact.
in coincidence. You know, just things just
Right,
happening. I mean, you know, they do, I guess, in life, but you know, I believe always that there's a cause and effect for
right.
everything that happens, and
So
we'll
so
see.
to so to be clear, Rick has a meeting later today with some people from the show, the producers from the show that contacted you and want you to come in. You don't really know what the meeting's about yet, but you're gonna go in good faith and go holler at them and see what they have to say.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay.
But then after I see this show, I'll be like, "Whoo wee, y'all need some help."
Yeah, that was like you said. Like you said, timing. It was perfect that you got to see that episode, and I won't even go into what we had to do to get you to be able to watch that episode on your flight and to download
Well,
it and all that. We got
Dave,
it done.
you really been putting out on this show, man.
You too.
And that's one of the reasons that I was willing to do this show with you is because I knew that you that kind of dude you're gonna put out, you know. So you put out, and you know I'm glad to be a part of this effort, you know. And it's
Yeah, man.
been it's been a short little ride, but you know we've been riding, man, and
Right.
you know I want to see how this goes and where the show ends up. It's going to be interesting, and I think that the people should really be paying attention to a lot of the details in this stuff because um, believe it or not, these shows have a lot of effect on our young people on what they believe and how they see things, and I think it's very important that we pay attention to the details
Right.
because they're portraying us on the screen. You know, they're
Right.
portraying the way they perceive me to be, and other young black men like me. So it's very important to me that that we keep
Yeah.
these people in some
Yeah.
type of check.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you bring that up a lot. You know what I mean? And I think it's a super valid point. And I have to connect it back to Breakbeat and the mission and the vision that we've got with Breakbeat is to be that platform that is authentic, that is not afraid to speak the truth or speak points of view on things that may not be politically correct to the rest of the world. That's what hip hop was about. In the really in the 80s, from the golden era of hip hop when it became a socially and politically conscious movement. That's what hip was the core of hip hop, was speaking the truth, and that's what the Source magazine that I created back in 1988. That's what it did for the community and for the culture for so many years, was hold that ground of like, we're going to be here, we're going to be ourselves, it's us, we're independent, we don't answer to nobody. I own and control the Source from the beginning until I got thrown out. Had to, no corporations that I had to answer to, and that gave us the power and the independence to really do things the way we wanted to and do things the right way. And
And when it lost that, Dave, when it lost that, it went down.
that's
When it
fair to
lost
say.
that you gave it, it went down. You know, I watched it go down. I watched, you know, because I was reading the newspaper. I remember when you got booted out, and we watched it go down, and that's why it's where it's at right now today. You know, so
Right. But everything, like you were just talking about, timing and no coincidences. I mean, Breakbeat, that's the vision of Breakbeat. We're starting with the podcast network, and we have our show. We got Don't Call Me White Girl. We got Coach Roddy. We got Trapping Anonymous. We're coming with Funny Marco very soon. We got the Larry Hoover documentary podcast coming. We got the Unsigned Hype documentary podcast coming. So we're starting with these different podcast stories and different types and subjects and hosts, but that's just the building block for where Breakbeat can go to be able to, get into the whole space of media, entertainment, social media, because all of these industries that are generating, the billions and billions of dollars that they are for these companies, they all rely on the culture of hip hop as like their bread and butter. It's the grease that keeps things running. Without hip hop culture being infused into Instagram, into Clubhouse, into FX network, that's they've really been able to utilize hip hop culture with a bunch of shows to make themselves relevant. That's the key ingredient. That's there. So I think, we can really create some of our own vehicles that we can own and control in all of these spaces. And that's what I'm looking to do, and have great partners like yourself, to be a part of building that along the way.
No doubt, no doubt. Let's do it. And I can't
uh,
wait, man, to see what this next episode is like. And I'm still going back. I'm still when I get time going back through the old episodes, and sometimes we got to talk about some of those too, Dave. That because I've been seeing a lot of things in the episodes of people who resemble my friends, and
Right. Well, I'm glad you said that, because one of the things I was going to mention is, we were saying a few minutes ago, like how, there's whatever 5 more episodes to go, and but one of the ideas we already talked about is, do we want to go back and do a podcast about every episode from season 1, 2, 3, and 4? We could do 40 more shows if people want us to do that, where we could go back through the older episodes one by one and talk about them and break them down the same way we've been doing this new season. So I don't know what you think about that idea, but we could throw it out there for the people, and maybe we get some response whether people would like to see that or hear
no
that.
doubt, no doubt. Let's think about it and then see what we come up with.
Definitely, definitely. Let me see a couple last things before we wrap up. I mean, one thing is, and we touched on it, but we didn't really get into it. I mean, there's a term in the entertainment industry and TV industry. It's called jumping the shark. And I'm wondering if that's what's going on with this show. Jumping the shark refers to when a TV series has been on for a long time. It's been really popular, but it's kind of like running out of gas, and then they start just doing all these extreme things, crazy things to try to make it work. And is that what we're seeing, here with Snowfall?
I believe we are. I really believe that that's what's about to happen. Um, the writers just, I think they're struggling. Maybe they'll come with it on the next show, though. Who knows? Maybe they'll
Well,
tighten it up and bring it back in line and get us back on track.
okay. Now, the other thing that we're looking forward to, and I want the listeners and the viewers to look forward to, is it's looking good. Like we're going to have some good guests on with us for the next few weeks coming up. So we've been in touch with several of the actors from the show and a few other individuals that are fans of Snowfall, notable folks that are interested in coming on and joining our conversation. So I think that's going to be super interesting in the upcoming weeks for the fans of After the Snow. Yeah, because some of those people you've met before, Rick. I know a couple of the actors, Uncle Jerome. Um, Echo was telling me you guys have met Uncle Jerome a few times, and I was reading up about
D Ray,
Auntie
D Ray
D
too.
Ray. Yeah,
Yeah.
D Ray. And I was reading up about Auntie Louie. Her name is Angela Lewis, and she's got some good things to say. Like she was talking about the CIA bringing crack into the black community, and I was really pleased to know that she was willing and interested in speaking about that kind of stuff, because again, to me, that is the most important underlying piece of a factual occurrence in your life and in this show, that's that needs to be still talked about, because it's never been, there's no accountability for none of that, and we look at the way things are out here in these communities today, and the violence and the incarceration. I mean, it's still the numbers are off the charts everywhere across this country, and these conditions, have never been addressed in any meaningful way. It's crazy, and my goal is to get people once and for all to really accept, understand, and do something about that in different ways that we can really, change the world, and in particular change, the world for Black communities and other disadvantaged communities, in this country, and through things like this, instead of making it worse through music or entertainment, TV shows, like you're talking about, promoting stereotypes and different things. Like, we can actually help make a change if we can get a platform that does things in a very, a more authentic, careful kind of way. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up another week of After the Snow. Now, this is a podcast in both audio and video form. So anybody that's listening or watching, you can go and find it on Apple, Spotify, or any of the podcast apps where you listen to your podcast every Thursday afternoon. And you can go every Friday morning to the Breakbeat Media YouTube channel. And that's where you'll find the visual version of our discussion. And After the Snow, Breakbeat Media. I'm Dave Mays, creator of The Source, co-founder and CEO of Breakbeat Media, at The Real Dave Mays on Instagram if you want to follow me, and my partner, Freeway Rick Ross.
What's up? All right, Dave. Thank you. You can follow me at Freeway Ricky too.
All right, Rick.
Later, Dave.
Peace.